Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be on the planet. Welcome to another edition of Football Picks here on TalkingSports.tv, and we're at Charlie Fitz Whiskey's, the finest tap and eatery you can locate anywhere on the planet. And it's right here in Vaughan, Ontario. And I'm joined, my name is Marty York, by the way, and I'm joined by two of the most prolific sports handicappers, and specifically football handicappers that you could find on this planet. First of all, Uncle Ben Walderman of
UncleBen'sFootball.com.
I knew that. You didn't have to tell me. UncleBen'sFootball.com. It's the place to look up if you want your picks for both the NFL and your NCAA picks. And of course, Handsome Howard came in, who of course is all over the place. And he, in fact, is a co-owner right here of Charlie Fitz Whiskey's. Both of you gentlemen, you want to say something?
I just have a tip of the week.
Already?
Yeah, just because we were talking in the preview. If you go to any drive-through lineup of Tim Hortons and ask them who they like on Sunday, and who go through that whole lineup, because these are people that just follow the masses. Ask them who they like on Sunday, and get the percentages of all their picks, and go against what these guys in lining up for Tim Hortons coffee, waiting a half an hour in a frickin' lineup to get a coffee. You'll make money Sunday.
All right, so for those of you watching in Texas and in Russia,
analysis.
you have to come
You agree,
to
right,
Canada.
Ben? You do
Very
agree.
interesting analysis.
If you sign out a little form and let them
We tend
check
to do
off who
things
they
a
like.
little more scientific than UncleBen'sFootball.com.
But you would agree with that, right, Ben? You would say
I
that
don't
would
think
work.
you'd be going too far off the. Yeah,
You'd
if
probably
you did
win.
that. Seriously.
Now, guys that go to country style, maybe you have a better chance
All
of
right,
going with their
and
pick.
I was just saying for the sake of those who
people
watch
in-
all over the world, if they're looking for country style and Tim Hortons, they're in Canada. Come on over here to Canada. And while you're here in Canada, just come and visit Charlie Fitz Whiskey's and buy a beer or two here and get the wings, man. Those curly fries. Holy crow, they're outstanding. Anyways,
They
all
make
right.
your hair curl.
Football picks here on TalkingSports.tv. If you watched this program last week, and you did, of course, because what else would you be doing? You would have been a huge winner. And that is because Uncle Ben was on fire, particularly with his NCAA picks. And I mean absolutely on fire. Handsome Howard was on fire with his NFL picks. So, folks, you got an opportunity to cash in again this week because here they are. Uncle Ben, Handsome Howard, going to give us their top picks. But before we get to that, let's talk about a team that last week I think clearly legitimized itself as an authentic contender. The Carolina Panthers, who went into the season, kind of iffy, Uncle Ben. I mean, we weren't sure if this team had enough of a running attack, if Cam Newton's sophomore jinx was going to last into his third season, and if this defense was good enough, if this coach Ron Rivera was good enough. But last week, I think Carolina erased any doubts with a pretty convincing victory, and I say convincing because they didn't allow San Francisco to score many points. Final was 10-9 in San Francisco for Carolina. Yeah, so I think the Panthers are for real. Is this team a Super Bowl contender?
Well, Marty, first of all, it's nice to be here again this week. They really surprised me, I'll tell you, because I had the San Francisco 49ers last week. My only loss in the NFL, by the way, last week. But I was very impressed with the Carolina Panthers. Ron Rivera's really got this team playing well. He's always been a good defensive coordinator. Question was his head coaching ability, but they seem to be, they got rolling last year at the end of the year. They started out poorly again. Last year they finished strong. Were they going to carry it over? Then they started out poorly again at 1-3 this year. Everybody thought it was the old Carolina Panthers again. Now they've reeled off, I think, 5 wins in a row. They went into San Francisco. They beat the Niners, a team that was on fire, I got to say, going into the game. And I was really shocked last week. I'm really impressed with the Carolina Panthers, and I do think they're a legitimate contender. Now, they're going to have they're going to have another tough test this week on Monday night. We'll get to that a little later on, playing the New England Patriots, who are coming in off a bye week. So the Tom Brady, Bill Belichick off a bye week scenario plays in here because they have some incredible statistics, Bill Belichick and Tom Brady off a bye. Not saying that New England's going to win the game, but we'll get into that. But yes, totally impressed with the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, we'll get your picks on that Carolina-New England game. But Handsome Howard, you did have Carolina to win that game last week. You liked them against San Francisco. And in fact, you liked the Panthers all year. I mean, I remember you in the preseason talking about how Cam Newton and the Panthers were going to be a legitimate contender. If you had any doubts at all, certainly they were erased last week in your mind, but you didn't have any.
Well, definitely. I mean, at the beginning of the season, my two bounce-back teams that I liked were the Lions and the Carolina Panthers. I like the Carolina Panthers a lot coming into this year. And yeah, I mean, they did get off to a rough start, and they've been able to bounce back, and it's been mostly through their defense. Definitely, their defense has looked like probably one of the premier defenses, maybe besides Seattle, premier defenses in the NFL right now, and they proved it Sunday against San Francisco. I mean, San Francisco was not able to do anything, and San Francisco got a lot of breaks early. I mean, San Francisco in the first half could have been up 2 or 3 touchdowns had they have capitalized on a few of Carolina's mistakes. I mean, there was one play where San Francisco had a blocked punt. Carolina guy went to field it. He fumbled it. San Francisco got the ball, and all they got was a field goal. And it showed me at the end of the game especially how Carolina was able to, I don't think they gave up San Francisco 1 point in the second half. They kept them completely scoreless in the second half in San Francisco. So I like the Panthers. I think the Panthers are the hot team right now in the NFL, and they got a shot. They got a real legitimate shot
They sure
to do something special.
I mean, they got the division in their sights. They still got 2 games left with the New Orleans Saints, who's ahead of them by 1 game. They got some easy games against Miami and Tampa, although you never know in the NFL, easy games. Let's talk, we'll get into that later, because there were some easy games that I thought last week that turned out to be on the flip side, like St. Louis, Indianapolis, for example. But yeah, the Carolina Panthers definitely will be a playoff team this year.
The interesting thing also, and they showed it Sunday on the game, is there's a problem with Cam Newton's mechanics as well. He's not throwing the ball the way he was 2 years ago. There's something with his shoulder that he's not throwing the ball as well, and they're still winning despite that. I mean, he is not the Cam Newton he was 2 years ago throwing the ball. He's still very mobile and can move around, but his mechanics are not 100% right now, and they're still in the game. They're still winning games without him being 100%, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because he doesn't run as much as he used to either, and yet defenses fear Cam Newton's running ability. It probably, when it comes down to it, I don't care about Colin Kaepernick and Russell Wilson and RG3 when he was healthy. I mean, really, Cam Newton's probably the best two-way quarterback when he's healthy. He's the guy that, if you're a defender, you have to fear the most because he'll just knock you right over.
Well, they're running the ball more than any team in the NFL, not for the most yards, but for the most actual carries in the NFL. So they're taking the pressure off Cam Newton. They're playing field position. They've got fantastic defense, and that's kind of Ron Rivera's his MO, so to speak. Yeah. And it's working to a T right now. It is.
All right, now, so let's talk about this Carolina-New England game coming up, guys. The New England Patriots in New England are favored by 2.5. It's a Monday night game, and I mean, it's a tough game to pick. I mean, we're talking, as Ben's already mentioned, about a team like the New England Patriots, very formidable squad. I mean, we're talking about Brady and Belichick, and even with those second-rate receivers, they're still a very dominant team. They're in New England Monday night. Carolina comes in after a huge win against San Francisco. What do you see happening in this game? Let's start with you, Ben.
Well, the game's in Carolina, first of all, Marty. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
The
Yeah,
in
that's right.
I think the Panthers are favored by about 2.5 points.
Yeah.
New England's sort of really coming around. They look solid on offense 2 weeks ago. They had the bye last week. Gronkowski's back. Amendola seems to, Brady's getting a little more comfortable. They hung 55 on the Pittsburgh Steelers 2 weeks ago, which was the most points the Steelers have given up in franchise history. So they're starting to click a little better, okay, the New England Patriots. Now they're coming in to play one of the top defenses in the NFL. But like I said, Belichick and Brady off a bye week is an incredible combination. I'm not sure what their stats are, but I mean, you give these Bill Belichick, who happens to be probably the best coach in the NFL, if not, one of the top coaches in the NFL, a little extra time to prepare. The boys down there have had a little extra time to heal their bones because they were injured ball club. They are missing the one thing, Vince Wilfork, to stop the run. He's out for the season. That's going to hurt them. It's a very tight game. I don't really have a pick on this game just yet, but I just think the Carolina Panthers might continue to roll. It's tough to bet against a team that's won 5-6 games in a row, playing at home. They're brimming with confidence right now. Their defense is strong. You won't be able to run the ball, so all the pressure's on Tom Brady. They'll become one-dimensional. When they're one-dimensional, you become easier to defend. Ron Rivera's a great defensive coach. It should be a really, really good ball game Monday night. But I'm going to have to take the home team there, guys.
Handsome.
Well, there's two sides to that, to looking at that game. Number one, based on last week's game against San Francisco, Carolina, obviously, and the public saw that game, look at them as they beat San Francisco at home and basically shut them down. And now they're coming home. The crowd's going to be absolutely going nuts in Carolina.
Yes, they will.
It's going to be like Super Bowl Sunday down there in Carolina, and Carolina is going to be pumped up to the extreme. So on that one side, you got to say, you know what, go with the home squad, go with Carolina. They're the hot team. But like Ben mentioned, you got Bill Belichick, who was off last week. I'm sure took every film of that game Sunday against San Francisco, dissected it to the limit. You're talking about one of the top coaches in the NFL. He's going to figure out a game plan which possibly, I think, may just be able to defeat the Carolina Panthers. I would never put something behind Belichick, especially after bye week, where he can see Carolina play a game like that. Now, also, there's the one thing saying Carolina's on a high after that San Francisco game, but sometimes teams actually, they have a hard time getting back up again the following. Now, it is the Patriots, so they should be. It's Monday night, but it could be somewhat of a trap game for Carolina.
I don't see a letdown here from the Carolina Panthers at home on
I hope
Monday
not.
night. National attention. They're playing well. They're going to be talking up the Carolina Panthers. Like everybody in the league is starting to talk about the Carolina Panthers.
They're Super Bowl contender now.
And I just think they're going to be
You
all
had
over.
it before the year began.
I just think they're going to be all over Tom Brady this Monday night, and they're going to be putting it to him, and they're going to be putting pressure on him. They know, that, the word's out on Tom Brady. They know how to get to Tom Brady.
If it was anybody but Belichick, I would say Carolina in a landslide. But this guy's so bright, and watch that San Francisco game inside out. Look, every film dissected it. He may figure out a way how to compete against this.
All right,
Carolina
Handsome,
defense.
I'm with Ben. I like Carolina. Home dog, top defense, defense wins, national television. I'm going to have to say that I like Carolina plus the points on Monday night, but that's going to be a hell of a Monday night game.
It's a good game.
Folks, last Monday night there was an interesting game, the Florida battle, if you will. The Miami Dolphins, with all their turmoil, went into Tampa. It was interesting because the ESPN crew all picked Tampa except for Chris Carter. The whole crew, Ditka and all those guys, all picked Tampa to win. Tampa went into the game 2.5 point underdog, and everybody picked Tampa to win outright. And I thought that was a sure bet myself, guys. I really liked Tampa.
We had Tampa last week.
Yeah, I know. Because at home, it was time for a win. It was
Like
their
we said
Super
it-
Bowl
we said
on
it was
Monday
their
night.
Super
Correct.
Bowl.
Yeah,
It's
and
their only salvage to the season.
right, and the Dolphins, to
Well-
me, are a troubled team. But Tampa Bay got off the schneid. Jacksonville also got off the schneid. There are no winless teams in the NFL at this point. Does that surprise you?
No, typically, it's very unusual that a team goes the entire season without winning a game. I'm not sure who the last team that did that, but I think it might have been the Tampa Bay Buccaneers many, many years ago. 0-16, I think it was.
Oh, not with Gruden there, I don't think.
No, even
before
before
The
that.
Saints
Yeah.
once
Or
go
0-14, whenever it might have been a
undefeated.
14-game schedule. But anyhow,
Used to call them the Aints.
yeah, last week was
We'll
their
get our crack research staff to find out before we go off the
Rob
air.
Ford, you mean? It's nice to see these teams get off the schneid. Personally, I think that both of those teams have a chance to win again this week. I do. I really think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers got a little confidence. Mike Glennon's starting to get on his gets his feet under him a little bit. Their defense is pretty solid. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're going into play a deflated Atlanta team this week, but Atlanta's lost I don't know how many in a row.
They
4
could
or
be
5,
the
6
worst team
a
in
row.
football right now, Atlanta.
They've just lost it completely. The Atlanta Falcons.
I'd
But
rather
anyway,
have Glennon than Ryan right now. I'm not
Atlanta's
kidding.
terrible.
Anyhow, the 1972 Miami Dolphins are safe, to answer your question, for at least another season.
Well, we don't know that
No,
yet.
actually,
We got
that's
the
not true.
Kansas
That's not
City
true.
Chiefs,
Excuse
you
me.
don't know.
Well, yeah, we're gonna get to that.
Yeah,
we're
that's
gonna
a
get
big
to that
game
in a little
this
bit.
week.
But it's good to see these teams, winning some ball games, getting some confidence, and spreading the wealth around a little bit in the NFL.
All right, Atlanta, Tampa Bay, and the Falcons are favored by 1.5. Isn't Tampa Bay a good play here?
Well, Tampa Bay's never a good play. Tampa Bay. They're not. Let's call the record straight. They only have one win all season, right? Atlanta's not a good play either. That game is a garbage football game. I wouldn't bet it with your money. The two terrible football teams. Tampa Bay was up for that game Monday night. They'll be back to the old Tampa Bay Buccaneers this week, looking like a bunch of crap. But I wouldn't bet the Atlanta Falcons either. So I'd look for a different game to bet other than that one. This
I would
weekend.
too.
All right.
I would too.
Folks, there are two big games in the NFL this weekend. We're going to take a look at both of those games in our next segment, so don't go anywhere. Marty York, Uncle Ben Walderman, Handsome Howard Kamen, stay tuned.